Hi, I am Ashlyn Denson, and I was recently invited to go to the Pan-African Film Festival. I was referred to Professor Abdul by one of my classmates in Black literature, so that was cool. It was a really nice experience. I was able to record and capture a talk back from Michael Brown Sr., the parents, the father of Michael Brown Jr., who was killed at the hands of police officers. I saw the movie South Central, which I grew up looking at all my life, and it was cool to see the cast get together and reunite for this showing. And I also saw the final episode of the Fox show Snowfall. It was so nice to see the final episode of the show Snowfall, which was directed by the late John Singleton, who is a powerhouse in Black film and in film period. It was so good to have the actors to participate in the talk back after the showing and to share their knowledge, especially with me being a Black actor myself in the MFA acting program at Cal State LA. It was just it was such a positive and such an empowering experience to see so many Black actors in such a big show like Snowfall. So I'm going to show some clips from that talk back, and we're going to keep it moving in this video.
How did you prepare for that journey and to channel that level of darkness to go against his own family?
Wow. It's always kind of always been in Franklin. Hello. The darkness has always been in Franklin. The whole concept of this character for me is actually trying to shy away from that darkness and lean more into his youth, his humility, but that's what he's constantly fighting through the actions and the happenings of the show. So it's a testament to the writers and just the storyline. I've been fighting with them since season 1 to show this kind of gangster side, because I know that's what the audience but I think just the journey and the arc of it is all gonna work out, and next season it's gonna be more of the same.
And now I'm going to show you a clip of the talkback I recorded after the screening of the documentary Ferguson Rises, directed by Mobolaji Olenbanwayu. And yes, so I hope that you enjoy.
And we can make it to the other side. And we can make it to the other side.
So we have Michael Brown Sr. here. Right. We have Cal D. Mays, Michael's wife, right in the center. We have one of our producers, the #1 producer, Tanai Seabrook, right here as well.
And we have Mobolaji, our director, Olambuanu. So we are waiting for microphones, but in the meantime, we're gonna move ourselves along. We don't have much time, so we want to recognize the Brown family. They traveled a long way to be with us, and so Mobolaji, if you have a question for the Browns to open us up.
It took 7 years.
Right.
To shoot 7 long years to shoot the film.
Shoot and finish, yeah.
Shoot and finish. I'm very pleased with the documentary. Several people have attempted to try to tell the story of Ferguson, and thus far, Mobolaji has done the best job to really reflect the work that I and my family continue to do today. Every time I see this documentary, my heart begins to be heavy. Even though I caught the last few minutes of it, I automatically got engulfed in tears because all I can go back to is sitting there the day Mike graduated, and he said, "The world's gonna know my name. I'ma shake the world," and he has done just that. And it's heartbreaking to know he's not here, but it also warms my heart to know that his legacy will continue.
Brown.
Just trying to get out of it. No, me personally, I am very pleased with the documentary. Like I tell Bongolaje all the time, where he actually knows, this was a hard road, you know. Bongolaje, we met in 2014, and I was still fresh with the pain. I really didn't want to be bothered. I was dealing with all the emotions still, and we luckily met at a fish place where I was eating, where he was already eating, and he talked to the wife and he wanted to get an interview. And from there, you know, we started meeting, and it was small segments. Sometimes they were long, you know. Elijah could see the frustration in me because he had to ask some serious questions. And I think some of those questions he really wasn't ready for, you know, because there was a lot of anger behind them, you know. But through it all, you know, and the ending and the accomplishment that we all, you know, we can see now, you know, I'm able to receive it a little better because as time came, you know, I'm still a little angry. The fire's still there, but I'm more at a little bit more at peace where I can receive some things a little differently now, you know. So I am very, very thankful that our family was chosen for this doc, and it's definitely doing this thing.
Amen.
I want to add. Every time I see it, I get emotional. You know, that's 7 years, and you know, and that's 7 years for me being in contact with material. So it pales in comparison to the 7 years of, you know, or almost 8 years now of what the family has had to deal with. So I want to acknowledge that, and I think my goal as a filmmaker was to really humanize black men because of the heavy rates of murder that are taking place by the police, and I really wanted to make sure that, and that's why you saw at the end it was also dedicated to my son, because I knew that my wife was 7 months pregnant when we started the film. He's now 7 years old, so that shows you how long we've been working on it. And when he was about to be born, I knew I felt this tremendous sense of responsibility. You know, what am I going to tell him that I did at this crucial moment in history? You know, the streets were on fire, people were protesting, you know, and the world was really shifting at that moment, and I knew that I just didn't want to be able to say that I did nothing, and so we began this journey making this movie. Without knowing what it would take to make this movie. If I had known it would take 7 years and we'd have to spend all that time raising money and crying and depressed and all the things that took place, I may not have done it. So I'm glad I didn't know. You know, so for all you new filmmakers, it's better not to know. And the things I had to learn along the way, you know, from fundraising to, I'd raised maybe $250 for a bake sale or something. So to have to raise, you know, almost $700,000, or actually $700,000 to make this movie over that 7 years was an incredible learning process, and to witness. I think what's most important here is also for my son. I wanted my son to see the strength and the resilience that Michael Brown Sr. represents, because as Black people in this country, having faced so much historically in this country. The resilience that the Black community shows, the strength that the Black community shows, the creativity that the Black community shows in the face of all that is laudable. And sadly, America misses those points. They look for the pathologies, they look for the things that are wrong in the Black community, but those things are wrong in every community, instead of looking for what's right. And so this film was really, for me, in the midst of that tragedy, acknowledging what is right about the community, how you can find hope within yourself, how you can find hope within the community that you create around yourself and build around yourself, and how you can find hope through organizing for change. And that despite, as Sekou said, you know, we've already won, right? And we have to live as though we've already won because we already have. And I think that's the only way that you can create the future that you want. And that's the message that I wanted to leave my son. That's the message that I wanted to leave everybody else. And what I saw on the news was just the death, the destruction, the pain, and there was nothing offered within that I could turn to my child and say, you know, it is okay to be a black person in this society, you know. And for me, I had to leave him with that message because, you know, because I had to leave everybody else with that message, right? It's okay, you can have hope in the midst of that, and that we're not alone. You know, if you saw those people protesting around the world, as we were doing the research for the film and finding the footage, it was shocking because I was like, wait a second, they were protesting in Korea? I don't see any black people in that, you know, and they're protesting, and I didn't even realize until we started digging up that archival footage that people were protesting in that many places around the world. And that gave me heart. That gave me a sense of strength, and I wanted to leave people with that as well, right? That we are not alone. Whatever you think you're struggling with, there are millions of other people who are struggling with that, or who are standing by your side in that, and you just have to know that even though you don't see them, they're there. You know.
I want to piggyback.
Okay, go ahead.
But before we get to the next question, I want to piggyback on what Mobalaji is saying and why it's so important that we tell our own stories. We had started this project not in Ferguson, we were starting in Watts with a project called the Hope, Love, and Beauty Project. And that project, sole purpose really was to reframe our stories, to go into communities, our communities, and rather than look at what's wrong, look at what's right. And we went with these three main questions: what gives you hope, what do you love, and what do you find beautiful? And these are universal questions. Everybody, something gives you hope. You find something beautiful, and there's something that you love. And though there's a longer story how we got to Ferguson, we went into Ferguson with that frame of mind. And that frame of mind runs through this film.
Hey, so thank you for watching my video on the Pan-African Film Festival. Thank you to Professor Abdul and the Pan-African Studies Department at Cal State LA, and thank you to my classmate Prince, who referred me to Professor Abdul to be an intern for the Pan-African Film Festival. I really enjoyed myself. It was so great. It was nice to see. The final episode of the season of the FX show Snowfall. It was good to see all the actors, the main actors, like in that show, to see them talking to us and just allowing us to take pictures and sharing their knowledge, and just, it was just so amazing. And also seeing South Central, like I said, like I grew up watching that movie all the time. That was one of my favorite black movies growing up. It was good to see the cast. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is the cast of like a movie that, like a classic black film. So that was good to see. And lastly, I saw I was able to record the talk back of the Michael Brown, the producer and the director, and also the father and his wife, the father of Michael Brown Jr. and his wife. It was good to see that. It was nice to see that, to hear them, just talk about such a very painful moment, a very painful time in Black history, and also in just American history, period, as far as, Michael Brown Jr. being slaughtered at the hands of police. It was like, wow. So it was a really good experience, especially me being like an acting student. I'm in the MFA program in the acting cohort at Cal State LA, and so I'm actually one of the only black girl in the program, and in the acting cohort, and one of the only black students in the program in general. So it was good to see, going from that, being in that environment where I'm like and I'm a minority in my field as an actress myself, and then like going to the Pan-African Film Festival and seeing all these wonderful black actors and black filmmakers and directors and producers, and just everything that I aspire to be in my field. Is just like seeing that. It was just such an inspiring, it was so awe-inspiring, it was so motivating, it was so just empowering, and just, it just motivated me to just keep going and to stay the course, and to always you know, strive to do my best and always represent my community, and, you know, always strive to produce Black excellence. Like, so that was really good. Like I said, thank you to Professor Abdul, thank you to Prince, thank you to my professor, Dr. Guequer, who's my professor in Black literature, Black themes in literature, I'm sorry. So it's been a great semester. Thank you so much. And I'm really excited to see what the future holds in my partnership with the Pan-African Studies in the future. Even though I'm in the MFA acting program, I still want to, you know, still collaborate with the Pan-African Studies department. So yes, thank you again.